If you want to start building wealth in the stock market, you've probably heard of two massive funds, the S&P 500 and VTI. Both are incredibly popular, incredibly cheap, and recommended by legends like Warren Buffett. But as a beginner, which one should you actually pick? In this video, we're going to break down the exact differences so you can confidently start investing today. Let's start with the S&P 500. This index tracks 500 of the largest, most successful publicly traded companies in the United States. Think of giant names you know and use every single day: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Nvidia. When you buy a piece of an S&P 500 ETF, like Vanguard's VOO or SPY, you are instantly becoming a partial owner in these 500 massive businesses. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned an average of about 10% per year over the long term. It represents roughly 80% to 85% of the total U.S. stock market by value. Now, what about VTI? VTI stands for the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF. Instead of just buying the top 500 largest companies, VTI tracks the entire U.S. stock market. This means it holds over 3,400 companies. When you invest in VTI, you get those same top 500 mega companies like Apple and Microsoft, but you also get exposure to mid-sized businesses and thousands of small up-and-coming companies. It gives you 100% coverage of the U.S. equity market. So, what are the actual differences you need to know? First is diversification. The S&P 500 gives you large-cap stocks only. VTI gives you large, mid, and small-cap stocks. Second is the weight. Because both funds are market cap weighted, meaning larger companies make up a bigger percentage of the fund, the top 10 holdings in VTI and the S&P 500 are exactly the same. In fact, about 85% of VTI is made up of the exact same stocks as the S&P 500. The remaining 15% is where your mid and small cap exposure lies. How does this affect your returns? If you look at a 10-year, 20-year, or even a 50-year chart, comparing the S&P 500 to a total U.S. stock market fund, you will notice something surprising. The lines almost completely overlap. Because the largest 500 companies drive the majority of the U.S. economy, both funds perform nearly identically over the long run. In years when small-cap companies boom, VTI might slightly outperform. In years when tech giants dominate, the S&P 500 takes a tiny lead. But for long-term wealth building, the difference to your bank account is minimal. So, which one is better for beginners? If you want absolute ultimate diversification and want to own a piece of literally every public company in America, choose VTI. If you prefer to focus strictly on the established cash-flowing giants that dominate the global economy, choose an S&P 500 ETF. The truth is, choosing between them is the least important decision you'll make. The most important decision is simply getting started and investing consistently. If you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button for more simple investing guides. See you in the next video.